Hey there, comic book fans. It's Rusty again with Collector Auctions. And as you can see, I'm in the car. I'm headed back to Maryland from a weekend trip down here to West Virginia. But on this particular weekend, I ended up taking an extra day off from work, and I'm coming back on Wednesday. So here it is Wednesday, and I'm nowhere near my local comic book shops for a new comic book day. So I decided on this trip to come back a different route and stop by Charlottesville, Virginia, and go to one of my favorite comic book shops in this area called Hello Comics. They have been loaded with back issues, new issues, specials, all kinds of stuff. I've spotlighted them on this channel several times in the past, but it's been several months since I've been there. So I'm looking forward to stopping by, picking up some new comics for New Comic Book Day, checking out their wall books, and checking out their Fresh Friday books. These are books that they put out, usually keys, that they put out for specials on Friday. And sometimes there's some of these are left over. Sometimes they go fast. So I don't always get the pick of the litter, but I do pretty good sometimes. So I'm going to stop by Hello Comics, pick up some things, and then I'm going to hit the road to head back to Maryland, and I'll get there at some point, and I'll sit down with all the books that I pick up today, and I'll show you off everything that I pick up. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed some of the footage that I shot inside of Hello Comics. I appreciate those guys giving me the opportunity to film inside. I do ask when I go in, I said, hey, do you mind if I film? I got a YouTube show. Now, some of those guys know me. I've talked with them before, and they've watched the channel. It's been a while since I've been in here, so I'm not sure if they remember, but that's why I go ahead and ask before I just automatically assume I can start shooting. So, it's New Comic Book Day. I did manage to pick up a couple things off the stands. Not a lot, but my main focus today was looking at the wall and going through their back issue bins. And even though I shot some footage, I know I didn't do it justice. You guys have got to come here to Charlottesville, visit Hello Comics. This is the uptown location. They have a downtown location as well, but I have never been to that one. My understanding is most of the back issues are at this location, so this works out really well for me, and they are so organized and they go deep on a lot of things. You can find Golden Age, Silver Age, bronze, modern, copper. There is a lot of stuff here. And we're going to use that term that I'm really starting to overuse right now, the rabbit hole. Whatever kind of rabbit hole you want to go down. For example, I almost fell down the Defenders rabbit hole, and I pulled back at the last second. I'm going, okay, I've already picked up a lot of stuff. I don't need to do this right now. I will return here at some point. We'll start expanding the Defenders line at some point. I did find some Invaders books that I added to the collection. So once I get back to Maryland and sit down, I will show off everything that I picked up at Hello Comics. Again, highest recommendation to visit this location. And definitely when you come to this location, let them know that Rusty from Collector Auctions recommended it. Great guys, really fun group of people there. And they've got so many different things. You saw toys, Funkos, books for kids. You could go down a lot of different avenues, a lot of different rabbit holes, as I keep saying. So got some great books, and there's reasons I picked up some of these books, and we'll go over that once I show you the books themselves. So stay tuned, and I will be right back.
One eternity later.
All right, everybody, I finally made it back from West Virginia and Charlottesville. Got a chance to pull all the comics that I picked up from Hello Comics out. Got them organized here. Let's start with the new comic books. After all, this is New Comic Book Day. So let's start with what I picked up from Hello Comics. I picked up one copy of Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives from Boom Studios, #1. This is by Josh Middleton, and the cover is, of course, they had some other alternates, but they didn't have the main cover A. Now, this was about 5 o'clock when I went into Hello Comics. It's way late in the day. They were going to close at 6 o'clock, so I didn't have a lot of time, and by that point in the day, if there were other covers that they had there, they're all sold out at that point. So I went ahead and picked this up. I figure I will pick up the regular cover A at some point from one of my local comic book shops when I make it there at some point this week. But I wanted to go ahead and pick a copy of this up. I was a big fan of monsters back in the 4th and 5th grade years, and the Creature from the Black Lagoon was one of my favorites. I remember having an action figure of that creature. I love the design. Love the old movies. There was just something about that, part of that Universal Monsters I really liked about the Creature from the Black Lagoon. So, pick that up. I continue to pick this up from Jim Zub as Conan the Barbarian, and I've really enjoyed this. And the artist on this, Della Torre, I'm probably mispronouncing that badly, is back on these current issues. I think he was off for a few issues. Very John Buscema-like, and I really like that. I've enjoyed this series so far. It's probably one of the only independents that I continue. I mean, we're up to issue number 10 right now, and I'm still continuing to pick this up. It's very enjoyable. I did pick this up. This is Venom number 31. I don't know if this was exactly from this week or last week, to be quite honest, because at Hello Comics, they don't separate their new comics from their previously new comics. They're all kind of very modern comics on the wall, and they're all intermixed. So you kind of got to know what you're looking for if it's a new comic book for the week. So I don't know if this is actually new this week or not. It doesn't really matter. I picked this up because Greg and Tim Hildebrandt, I think, are going to be at one of the cons that I'm going to be at later this year. And this is a very nice cover of Venom right there. And I thought that would be really cool to get signed. New this week was also Ultimate Spider-Man number 4. I'm pretty sure I've got this as a pre-order, but I wanted to go ahead and pick this up. I want to continue reading this as soon as I can. I've enjoyed this series so far. This has a new artist on it for this particular issue, and I've already thumbed through it, and I can tell you it feels like it's off already. It's too soon to have a new artist jump onto a series like this. You've got to have some more continuity with this, and I wasn't really a big fan of the art in this right here, but it is the first appearance of the new Gwen Stacy in this new Ultimate Universe. I did pick this up, Rise of the Powers of X. It's part of this Fall of the House of X, number 4 right here. I did this. This was a cover by, and I cannot remember the artist on this, but beautiful picture illustration of Jubilee. cover by completely on that. And I did pick up the second issue of Feral. So I've enjoyed this so far. And if you guys get a chance, definitely check out my video that I took from Third Eye Comics a few episodes ago, where I went down over one weekend. I got to see Jeff Johns on Saturday, and then the creators of Feral, of course, the same creators of Stray Dogs, they were there at Third Eye on that Sunday doing a signing. You've got Tony Fleeks and Trish Foistner on that. So those were the new comics I picked up. But like I said, the new comics for this week were mixed with the new comics from the last month or so. So there was multiple issues up there, but you kind of had to know which one was the brand new one. So I'm going through the Feral books to see what kind of variants they've got. And I did not pick up variants on this issue right here. It's just I went down that whole rabbit hole with Stray Dogs way too much. And I don't need to go down that with Feral quite as much. But I did pick up a 1 in 10 variant from issue number 1. It is the same as cover A, except it's a virgin cover. And I wish I had had that for that signing, because I would have obviously had Tony Fleeks and Trish Foistner sign this. They may be at the Baltimore Comic-Con. I think Trish is. She's local to this area. I'm hoping Tony will be in here as well. Fingers crossed on that I'll get a chance sooner than later to see both of them again, so I can get this issue right here signed. Now, I did get issue number 1 regular with the trade dress signed, but it would be nice to get this one signed as well. So that was it for the new comics this week. Part about being on the road was I didn't have my master list with me to see what I'd actually pre-ordered or failed to pre-order. So I kind of was going off instinct on that. I know that the Ultimate Spider-Man I had already pre-ordered, but I think I had missed adding Feral number 2 to that list. So I think I did okay with the ones I picked up. I'm sure I missed something. But we'll go over that list again, and hopefully one of my local comic book shops will still have some of those in stock. But at Hello Comics, I got a chance to go through the bins, and again, I only had an hour. And I'm going down, I don't know what it is when I go there. They've got so much stuff. You saw some of the shots where I showed you the bins, and they are tabbed out very well. And I'm trying to remember, it's like, what should I get? What am I looking for? And I remember to go through the Invaders, and I did pick up some Invaders books, so we'll get into that as well. But I started looking at the Defenders and basically some Bronze Age stuff, and then I started looking for some Uncle Scrooge, and it was just, man, I was going all over the place, and I knew I had to cut it off at some point because I had to get home. I've still got another 3 hours to get home, and tomorrow is a work day for me from this trip. I did take off this Wednesday so I could have an extra day down in West Virginia to do some stuff and see some friends and family. But I still had to get home. I didn't have all the time in the world. But I did manage to pick up a couple things, and then I stopped myself. I got it back into that Defenders box, and I'm like, no, just wait. On your next trip down, you can always go back in there and see if you really want these. I was buying them because I was starting to go through them because some of the conditions were really good, and I'm like, and they weren't expensive either. But do I really need to be buying that? I think I'm going to have to do a future episode talking about an update on my 2024 goals, and I feel like in the last month, I've really fallen off of what I should be working on for the goals list this year. Not saying I haven't got good books, but I've really got things that weren't really on the list. So we'll save that for a future episode and a future trip to Charlottesville. But let's get into the books that I did pick up. So let's start with the Invaders. That was one of the first things I went to look, because that was where I kind of really got jump-started on the Invader stuff, because I had kind of casually noticed I've been picking up some Invaders books, and then on a trip last year to Hello Comics, I got into their Invaders run, and it was a really good run of comics in really good condition, and I picked up a bunch of books. And they still have a bunch of Invaders books, but what I need is a lot less, and the conditions on a lot of the books were just not acceptable for what I'm trying to do. But I still managed to pick up some things. So let's just see what I picked up. I've got this great Hitler cover from issue number 19. And then I have this Frankenstein, a Nazi Frankenstein from issue 31. And I should have skipped this. I skipped over 30. I picked up number 30 right there. That was one I definitely had as a kid. I remember that the flying UFO Nazi thing there. That was I always remember that. The other thing I also remember is just the awful Frank Robbins artwork. I never enjoyed any of that. Nothing. Nobody looked good. It's amazing. No, the women didn't look good. The men didn't look good. And then the last one I picked up was this issue number 37. So did pretty good. I kind of wish I had picked up issue number 41, another copy of that. It is a square-bound book and difficult to find with a black cover and a square bound like that is in really good shape. And again, that was one of those I just decided, no, just get what you need, not the ones that you've already got and you're doing duplicates of. If it's there the next time, maybe, I don't know. But these were the Invaders books that I picked up. So at some point we'll have to do a show on the Invaders books and see how far along I am on this journey of trying to complete that run of 41 issues. Plus, I think, was it giant size? There's a giant size and a king size. I think there's 2 giant size Invaders books and a king size. Now, the king size I've already got. That's that Alex Stromberg cover, his last artwork, or last cover that he did. So we'll total that up. I've got to put all the books together and make sure and see what my list is right now. Yeah, let's see. This right here. Now, again, I didn't have a lot of time, and one of the things that had just popped up on my radar was coming up on May 4th. Now, when this video comes out, I'm not sure if it's going to air before May 4th or not, but the plans on May 4th were already set. That's Free Comic Book Day, but it is also the Saturday of the Fan Expo up in Philadelphia, and I had taken off work, already put in for that, so I could go up, and I'm targeting some artists like Andy Kubert and Brian Hitch, among some others. There's Gary Frank, there's, who else is there? There's a couple other people, some of them they're all associated with the Ghost Machine property of Jeff Johns, and that was kind of the plan. I was going to go up on Saturday and see who all could get signed. And then on my Facebook page, it popped up, one of my local comic book shops on Free Comic Book Day is actually having Walt and Louise Simonson come in for a signing. There's going to be a couple other artists there as well. And I'm going, oh, that's good. I literally just saw them down at Big Lick Comic Con. And I'm sitting there going, the question in my mind right now is it a free signing, or are they going to be taking donations for Hero Initiative at that as well? That's kind of the $1,000 question, because if it's free, then it's going to be well worth it to go bring some things in. If it's not free, I kind of will do what I did down at Big Lick, and I'll have a few things to get signed, and maybe I can get another sketch from Walt. I don't know. But while I'm there at the store today, I ended up going, okay, you've gotten so many X Factor books signed by the both of them, and you've gotten so many Thor books signed by Walt. What do you need? What would you want if you wanted to get signed? And I realized that, especially the X Factor books, I got them signed back in the early 90s when artists were still signing on the inside splash pages. And I realized it would be nice to get some of these X Factor books with the really good covers by Walt, signed by both of them. And I did get one of those X Factor books that I really liked when I was down at Big Lick Comic Con. But I decided, okay, hey, I'm right there at at Hello Comics. Let's go through the X Factor box. Let's go through the Thor box and pick up some things if it's in really good shape. So I'll show you what I picked up. And these are all good books, but they're mostly cover buys. These are books that once they get signed, the covers are really good, and they'd be great for display. And once CGC finally starts to get books that can be verified signatures, not just witness signatures. And I thought this was supposed to start in April, and I haven't heard word one about that from CGC. I'd love to know when that program is going to start with JSA. But I did pick up issue number 37. I love this cover of Madeline Pryor as the Goblin Queen. And then the classic cover of Cyclops there on the anniversary borders. He did two of those. He did the one for Thor as well. And the Thor one is one of the ones I got signed down at Big Lick. And I thought it'd be neat to get this one signed as well. And I ended up getting issues 26. This classic cover with Apocalypse. And even this cover, I love this cover. This is issue number 26. That's 25, this is 26. And what's neat about this, and I didn't get issue number 24, but when you put these together, let's see if I can do this right. When you put these together, and trust me, putting them together right here, you're not going to be able to see it that well, but they actually interlock, and so does the issue number 24. But it was interesting when I talked about getting, when I was getting Walt and Louise to sign books at Big Lick Comic-Con, I told him the story of back in the day, back in the early 90s when they were at Serendipity in Silver Spring, Maryland. Walt took the 3 issues that I had brought in to get signed. He took all 3 of them and laid them down. He said, did you notice that they all interlock? And of course I didn't, because they were monthly issues and I got them, read them, put them away. And so I didn't think about it. But he said the thing that kind of throws everybody off, even if you could figure out that they interlocked, was the coloring was different, a little bit different in all 3 of them. So it doesn't look like it matches up. So it didn't match up quite as well as they probably anticipated. But I got those for Walt and Louise to sign, because she wrote all of these. And I'm going through the Thor books, and I'm going, okay, most of my Thor run from 337 up to, I don't have every issue signed by Walt, but I have a ton of them signed by Walt on the interiors, including 337, 337, 338, 339, the first 3 issues right there. And I'm going, okay, all of them are signed on the inside. Which ones would you want to sign on the covers? Because that's the way things are right now. And again, CGC finally decides they're going to get off their butt and get the program going to verify signatures. Other books can get graded. I can go to a signing, get this signed, and then submit it to CGC like you can do right now with CBCS. So I decided to pick up a couple issues here. They didn't have a 338 and 339. That's the ones I would have picked up. But I did pick up the classic Thor as a Frog issues, 364. And then this one here is just an all-time classic, Thor as the Thunder Frog. 366. That's awesome. Love that cover. But those all right there, those last ones, X Factor and Thor, are all bought with the intent of taking them to that signing on May 4th to get them signed at Cards, Comics, and Collectibles. We'll see how that goes. I've reached out to them to see if it's going to be a paid signing or if it's free or not. That will kind of determine what I do at this point with these books. But nonetheless, the books are all still pretty good. And that leaves me with a couple more books. Now, I talked about at the beginning of the video that on Fridays, they have what's called Fresh Friday or hashtag Fresh Friday. They put out a lot of really good keys, minor keys, big keys, and with special prices sometimes. And that's a way to get people into the store other than just New Comic Book Day. But I'm working. I can't come down there at any point. I can usually get down about that area about every 3 or 4 weeks if I decide to come back through Charlottesville to come back to Maryland. And that's what I did on this trip. And so that's usually picked over pretty good. So I went through the bins and I
there wasn't a lot jumping out at me, but this is a book that I always pick up, especially if I can find it for a price of like this. It was only $3. It is Alpha Flight number 33. This is the first appearance of Lady Deathstrike. Of course, this is a 2-issue storyline that explains some of the origin of the adamantium skeleton that Wolverine has. But again, this is the key first appearance of Lady Deathstrike in this. Got some beautiful early Mike Mignola artwork. And that was the only issue in the Fresh Friday boxes that I ended up picking up. Not that there wasn't other good things in there, but there was just things that popped out that are of interest to me. This was the only thing that really popped out. And then I'm kind of trying to wrap it up, and I run across a run of Monsters on the Prowl, some of that 70s horror reprint books, really monster books. I wouldn't even call it horror. I'd call it monster books, really. But it got me thinking, I haven't gone down that path of trying to collect all these old, whether it's DC horror books or Bronze Age, all Bronze Age, or Marvel. I haven't gone down this where I have this need to collect these. I know that there are some channels out there that they're really going heavy on collecting, whether Marvel or DC, both. And I've pretty much stuck with picking up classics from my childhood that I'm replacing as high-grade copies. And one of those that I had picked up was, what was it? Worlds Unknown. I think it's number 6. It's the one with Killdozer. I keep picking up that copy because I love that story. I love the TV movie they made of it. The cover had nothing to do, was anything like what the movie or even the interior was like. But another title that came to mind was, hey, I really need to check the supernatural thrillers. It was kind of a test. How good a shop is Hello Comics? Will they have a section for supernatural thrillers? That was not a very long line of comics. But you had some miscellaneous stories, and you get to issue 5, I believe, was the first living mummy, and then issue 7, I think, is when it went from like 7 to 15. I may be off by an issue or two there, of the living mummy. But one of my favorite ones of all time was issue number 6. And I'm going, oh, I wonder if they're even going to have it. Because if it's in good shape, I'm going to pick it up. Well, oh yeah, they had that section there. I mean, that's how deep they go in on their tab system. Is they had a tab with probably about 10 or 11 books for supernatural thrillers, and they had the one I wanted. Supernatural Thrillers number 7, and you've got this beautiful, I believe it's a Gil Kane, it has to be Gil Kane, cover of the Headless Horseman there, rides again, and one of my all-time favorite comics from the early 70s, and to top it off, this book right here is super high condition. I'm looking at this. This is a gradable copy right here, and I may have to look that up. If I think about it when I'm doing the editing on this, I will put down here on the screen. I will put a price tag of what 9.8s, 9.6s, 9.4 go in this book right here, because I think this has a really good potential to be something special. Not sure, but we'll find out. But that's all the comics I picked up. But I wasn't finished picking things up. If you saw in the store, they also had statues and toys and Funkos. And I normally, when I see Funkos in places like this, I look over it casually, not really expecting to find anything. And when I do, I obviously check the price tag and see if it's even reasonable or not. And normally I don't pick up a lot of stuff like that. But I did pick up this right here. I picked up the Iron Man number 4 Funko on that. And this is actually pretty old with that numbering. I mean, they're in the thousands, I think, in Marvel. I mean, I don't even know what their numbering system is, but anymore I see numbers in 4 digits up here sometimes. But this was number 4 in the line of these Funkos from Marvel, and you can tell that the quality has really improved over the years. I'm looking at this paint job and I'm going, this is a little rough, but it's kind of neat to have one from this time. And I'm looking on the back of it here. There's a Spider-Man one that's number 3, a Wolverine's number 5, Captain America's number 6. I may have to look at some of those. The Red Skull is a scary looking thing. He's number 7. So I may have to take a look at that and see if I can find some of those at some point. And that is not going to stay on the table right there. But guys, that is it. That is everything I picked up on New Comic Book Day from Hello Comics in Charlottesville, Virginia. Again, my highest recommendation, guys, if you are in that area, definitely check them out and let them know that I said that I recommended them, and I hope that you do. But I hope that you go in there and you find some great books, because I know you can. It'd be interesting to see what you can find there. So guys, leave me a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think about the books I picked up for this particular New Comic Book Day and what you think of Hello Comics. I'll be curious to hear your thoughts on it. And if you're ever interested on anything on the channel, whether it's raw or graded, definitely reach out to me at collectorauctions@yahoo.com, or contact me or DM me on Instagram, or check out what I currently have for sale on my eBay store or on my Shortbox page. Guys, I'm almost done. Last plug of the day is, if you like this kind of content and you want me to continue with it, definitely give a like for today's video and consider subscribing to the channel, and then click on that notification bell so you guys don't miss out on any of the content that I put out each and every week, Mondays and Fridays at 10 a.m. All right, I'm done with the sales pitch. I'm going to hit the bed. I'm exhausted from today's trip. So you guys take care, and remember, every comic has a story.